We just finished day 7 of my rut vacation. We didn't get one up last night, just due to just being super busy out here, but we'll kind of recap day 6 and 7 tonight. And really, I had 2 of the best days of hunting I've ever had in my entire life, and I wasn't even actually hunting, I was just filming. I killed my buck on day 5 here in Iowa, so I stuck around though for 2 more days to film my buddy Ross. And we headed to a new farm that was just unbelievable. It was straight out of deer hunting DVDs that I've been watching my whole life but never actually experienced. This was the Iowa experience that you dream about. Yesterday we went into this farm, and I guess we got in there late afternoon, and Ross rattled, and in comes a mid 150s, just giant, come pouring in towards us. He ended up getting to maybe 50 yards and just wouldn't commit any further. That was an amazing encounter. And then we saw 2 other 140 plus bucks way in the distance on the bean field, and then later that afternoon we had another real nice buck with split G2s come in following a doe, got to about 40 yards, still not within a shooting lane, but that doe picked off some movement up in the tree stand, and she turned and left with him. So awesome encounters yesterday. We weren't able to close the deal. This morning went back into the same area, and right away this morning, Ross rattles again. In comes just an absolute giant buck. He's pushing the Boone and Crockett mark, somewhere around there. He had split G2s, a split G3, just a huge buck. It was the biggest buck I've ever encountered while actually out in the woods hunting, and it was an incredible encounter. He came running in following a doe, and then they ran off the other direction, and he went with them. Then, a little bit later, we actually saw another, I think just one big buck out in that same bean field again. And then around 9:45, we had a doe come in. Right behind her was a great big 9-pointer, 140 class, just awesome frame deer. And that encounter, which started, I guess this was probably more like 9 o'clock it started, ended around 10 o'clock. This buck actually mounted and bred that doe in front of Ross, and then tended her for half an hour, sitting there doing the tending grunts and clicks and doing snort wheezes and all sorts of crazy stuff. And they ended up bedding down about 30 yards from Ross, but in some thick stuff, he couldn't get a shot. We sat there watching him bedded down for like half an hour, and then all of a sudden I look behind me, and in comes riding some does, and then right behind those does is that possible booner. So I'm sitting here filming, just shaking, trying to make sure I'm breathing still, and it was just incredible. That giant buck comes in, and actually, even though he had a huge rack, his body actually showed us that he's actually probably a younger deer, probably a 3-year-old, while the 9-pointer definitely looked older, more mature. But when that booner came in, or close to a booner came in, the big 9-pointer finally stood up, circled around, they came at each other, postured up to fight, and right then, Ross had a shot opportunity at the 9-pointer, and we were worried, and Ross was worried that if they started fighting, they'd break up and take off in different directions, or wouldn't give him a shot opportunity. So he decided that he better take that shot. So he shot the giant 9-pointer. That buck barreled away, and after seeing what happened next, he ran off, kind of stumbled, looked like he was shaking, about to collapse, blood pouring out of the side. We thought he was done for, but then he started limping off real slow. Then after that. And we went and checked out the footage, and it looked like the shot was pretty low. And it kind of hit in back here behind the armpit, and it kind of angled forward. So, long story short, we tracked that deer for a country mile, put in a good 5 hours of tracking until dark, and we were not able to find Ross's buck yet. So, he's going to head back in there as soon as he can get out of work and continue tracking, but we were definitely disappointed, hoping that Ross can still come up on that deer. But regardless, it was an incredible encounter, and the last 2 days were just really incredible. What we did notice is that it seems like the bucks are actually already kind of locked down with does. They're really, over the past 5 days here in Iowa, I almost have seen no chasing, which is kind of strange. But what we did see is when there is a doe, and there might be a buck bedded in thick cover, and they're kind of locked down right now. So it's kind of some funky kind of rut phases that we're seeing. Not sure if this is happening elsewhere, but not seeing the crazy chasing here either yet in Iowa, or maybe it happened before I got here, but interesting to note. Anyways, I'm heading back home tomorrow, back to Michigan. Iowa was incredible. It was everything I dreamed it would be. I got my buck. I saw some giants, had my best encounters of my entire life, and I am just thrilled. So I head back tomorrow to Michigan, and am going to continue the rut hunting there, hoping I can tag out on a great big Michigan buck soon.